Motion. What is motion? Motion is the movement of an object from one position to another position. Examples of objects in motion are cars, bikes, the earth, the moon, and even us humans. When something is not moving, it is said to be at rest. Take a roller coaster for example. If it is not moving, it is said to be at rest. Once people sit in the seats and the ride begins, it is said to be in motion. Now, you may wonder, what makes an object go from at rest to being in motion? It is called force. There are different types of forces. When a force is applied to an object, it starts moving. This force can be in the form of a push or a pull. For example, only when we kick a soccer ball, it moves forward. We are kicking it forward. An example of pulling is when we pull the door open. There are different characteristics of motion. First off, we have distance. Distance can tell us how far the object has moved from the original position to the new position. Distance can be measured when the object starts moving to when the object stops moving. Distance can be measured in units of meters, kilometers, and feet. Then we have speed. Speed tells us how fast an object is moving while in motion. Speed is measured by dividing the distance traveled by the time taken to travel the distance. The basic unit of speed is meters per second. It can also be measured in kilometers per hour. For example, if animal A takes a shorter amount of time to reach a destination than animal B, we can determine that animal A is faster. There is also velocity. Speed in a specific direction is called velocity. When we talk about directions, we are talking about north, south, east, and west. Velocity is a vector quantity since it consists of magnitude and direction. Velocity is calculated by dividing the change in displacement by the time interval. Velocity has the same units as speed. The directions are considered from the starting position. For example, if a person is driving towards a restaurant, their starting position would be from where the car was parked. Then there is acceleration. When an object speeds up and has a change in velocity by a period of time, it is said to be accelerating. The unit of acceleration is commonly meters per second squared. Momentum. Momentum is a measure of an object's mass and its velocity. It is a vector quantity similar to acceleration, since it has both magnitude and direction. An object's mass is usually measured in kilograms. The unit of momentum is kilograms times meters per second. Moving on to the laws of motion. Issac Newton found and defined the 3 laws of motion. We call them Newton's law of motions. Newton's first law states that objects in motion tend to stay in motion, and the objects at rest tend to stay at rest unless an external force is applied. For example, a ball once thrown stays in the air until gravity causes it to come down. Newton's second law of motion states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction that occurs. For example, when we push against a wall, the wall exerts an opposite force that does not let the wall move. Newton's third law of motion states that the greater the force applied on an object, the greater its acceleration will be. This is explained further using the formula F equals ma, where F is the force, m is the mass, and a is the acceleration. The force is directly proportional to acceleration. If the force decreases, so will the acceleration. If the force increases, so will the acceleration. There are different types of motion. Linear motion. Motion which occurs in a straight line is called linear motion. An example of a linear motion is an elevator moving up and down between floors. Periodic motion. Periodic motion occurs when an object performs the same task after a given time period. An example of this could be a pendulum that moves back and forth on a grandfather clock every few seconds. Circular motion. Circular motion occurs when an object rotates or moves along a circular path. An example could be a Ferris wheel at an amusement park. Projectile motion. Projectile motion is when an object thrown in the air takes a curved path due to gravity and no other forces. An example of this is when you throw a ball into the air. Like what you've learned? Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more future content.